Welcome back to the SPL. Finch and Taco here as we move into our second set of the day. It's week 2, North America. We're taking a look at it. In particular, it's going to be Spacestation up against LG.
A lot of really fun shakeups so far in North America, especially coming off the back of some of these roster changes. Trifecta had a little bit of a rough time there against E-United, but who's to say that it's going to be the same way watching Spacestation take on Luminosity?
That's right. Both of these teams have different looks in their middle lanes, and they've been sort of adjusting to those as they moved on here as well. Venenu, probably the biggest profile swap up, as that's going to be here for Spacestation Gaming, and maybe a bit of a rocky start. They did struggle up against E-United, but they've looked good since. Spacestation Gaming now have another test here against this LG squad that's also kind of been finding their rhythm.
I think that Luminosity has actually gotten off to a really great start here so far in the fall split. Sure, they didn't end up closing out on both of their sets last week, but that was only the first week, and they did manage to take a game off of E-United, and with the way that E-United has been performing, who's to say the same couldn't happen to Spacestation if they're not careful?
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, I think it's fair to say that E-United are a slight bit better than Spacestation right now, so if LG can look that competitive up against E-United, I'm very, very excited for how they're going to look here up against Spacestation Gaming. Now, I did speak with them the last time I spoke a little bit with Venenu, and we hear from them they're confident. They felt like they need a little bit more time to sort of get everything ready. So with a little bit of extra practice, I wouldn't be surprised if Spacestation look even better here.
I think that what will really make things exciting, though, is the fact that Luminosity can just really catch Spacestation by surprise. I think that Spacestation maybe not going to be as familiar, and also Luminosity could come in with a new level of aggression that Spacestation might not exactly know how to deal with initially.
Well, they got to make those adjustments right away because picks and bans are ready to get started here for Game 1. And in particular, I've got my eyes on Kiki here for them in the solo lane, right? It feels like he takes that Morrigan pick to another level. Does Spacestation think, hey, we can just beat that, let's give it a try, or do they just ban it outright?
Okay, if we see week 1 Kiki here today, I would be concerned if I'm a Spacestation fan, because Kiki was extremely hot all throughout the last week. Undoubtedly, it was carrying some of those sets also for Luminosity, and I think it's incredibly difficult to try and figure out anything to ban out. Morrigan could be an easy takeaway, though, for Luminosity to maybe look towards. They're not in that first pick selection, and leaving Morrigan open for Venenu could be risky business.
That's a good point. Venenu can pilot it nearly as well. It's just the difference of it being in the solo lane, and what do you know, Taco? Morrigan ends up first picked in a game with Kiki and Venenu in it. No big surprises there. I think most likely that is where that's going to be going. That doesn't quite strike me as one that Aqua would take over to the solo lane. That feels like a Kiki special. But it does mean, though, that Baron can go over to LG.
I would almost want to see this Baron in the support role as opposed to the solo lane for Kiki. I think that it really suits NotGeno's playstyle incredibly well. He's mostly known, I think, for his Athena gameplay. That seems to be the most of what we've watched out of that support player, but the Baron could be a really fun shakeup. I think that it's got heavy enough amounts of control that Luminosity can make this work. They're pairing it very nicely alongside of the Serqet also, which I'm a pretty big fan of, because when you're worrying about the life of the party, typically you're expending your purification beads in that moment. If you have them, that's going to make things a little bit easier for Weekend, I think, to maneuver around the back line, look for a good flank, and catch out one of those carries who might have already lost their beads.
And we've seen some Serqets in the matchup kind of just use last breath as a way to sort of avoid a lot of those ticks from life of the party, right? When you start to get close, it kind of just hops on and just waits till the duration of that ability is over. So that does create a little bit more space when they're on opposite sides. We don't have to worry about that as much now since they're on the same team. But Spacestation in return are going to grab Terra, one of the better Guardians you could ask for, and Ratatoskr with all that rotational ability.
I'm keeping an eye out for that Ratatoskr pickup. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen a double Ratatoskr composition thanks to the Morrigan. And it's not only that, but who's to say that Morrigan has to be Ratatoskr every single time? There's potential for Spacestation to have their own Serqet, to have their own Baron Samedi, and that's one of the dangers I think that Luminosity also has to take into consideration with the rest of their composition. They don't want to give too many strong components that'll also benefit Spacestation in return.
That's right. They got to make sure they're a little bit more curious about that as Neith comes in for LG. A bit surprising, but that will likely be, I think we could even say that might be their mid lane role. We don't see Neith in the Hunter role that often, so LG might be showing a potential proclivity towards going with that double Hunter composition as Anhur and Achilles come out for Spacestation Gaming. I mean, between Anhur, Achilles, and Rat, that's a ton of early game pressure.
I love seeing the Anhur. If there's one thing that I wish we got more out of BaRRaCCuDDa, it is just watching him hold that W the whole way through. And This is exactly the kind of pick that I think Spacestation can really utilize to look to sort of abuse Luminosity's dual lane for having a Baron, if it is a possible Baron. Now with the Kumbhakarna being locked away, I wouldn't be too surprised if it's Kumbhakarna support there for NotGeno, and then Kiki ends up with the Baron. But I still feel like this could be a really potent combination between Earth and Fury and that Desert Fury.
There certainly could be strong abilities when put together. Who do you think's going to win this game, though, out there in Mixer Land? Are you going to be voting along with the Morrigan pick that's actually going to be going over to Space Station this time, likely for Venenu? Or do you think that LG, even without the Yaman for Kiki, can still get it done? Let us know now, and we'll let you all know here in just a second, because we're ready to just go right into the action. Let's go ahead and get it over to the casters for the game.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Zach on the desk. It's me and Tolly bringing you this game today. Space Station Gaming with Venenu on the Morrigan. The rise of Morrigan again, Tolly. Is it because of the Bomber's mask?
A little bit. Honestly, it's a very cost-effective item, but it's also Venenu. He loves this goddess so much so to the point that they're willing to sacrifice picking up a Baron for themselves. Jeff going to block some of these minions in the duel lane, while BaRRaCCuDDa not really interested in looking for that early aggression against the Kumbhakarna Hoyi.
Yeah, and this is all this pressure at the start of the game. By doing this, it means the minions come down the lane a little bit quicker, and LG have to wait around a lot longer. The question is do Space Station Gaming go for their own jungle, which we've seen a couple of times? Instead, it might be a bit of a just pressure them away for a second or two.
This could have actually helped out Luminosity, considering there's no more archers as well. But if you're going to be looking to delay the buffs anyway, then this makes even more sense, because now you shouldn't be able to lose many minions under your own tower. You have enough time to clear the purple buff and get all this experience.
Yeah, Clout and Gino is going to go into the jungle here, and instead Space Station will get the whole wave, which is nice. They're going to get a bit of a boon there. They may lose the red buff unless Venenu can say anything about it, but I don't think Venenu's really interested at level 2 unless on a cheeky little throw of ability to look to steal it away, maybe?
The timing of it does not favor Venenu.
He got the baby.
I like the mindset, though. He did get the little bit of golden experience. And this should give an edge, though, to the dueling still of Space Station, because they're going to be the ones to clear this way first, and then maybe look for a purple buff invade.
Yeah, now this left on the side of the map then is going in Luminosity's favor slowly, just because of the red buff, and the left-hand Harpy's now going down 2, but here comes Jeff and BaRRa to steal away the purple to try and even things out.
I like the idea that Cloud did there, because he needed to hit level 2. He understood that if he got the 2 little minions, that would give him the level 2 he needed for Dive Bomb, because if you're not going to hit level 2 off that, you're not going to have the Dive Bomb to disengage, and Jeff and BaRRa could exploit that.
Luminosity this year have had their ups and downs, mainly downs, but going into this split, a lot of changes for them. There's signs of life now on this team. ShadowChair now in the mid lane seems to have done good things last week, and maybe that'll continue. Gino joined the team this year too and has started to make good waves for himself.
LG have a good start, I would say, this fall split. Beating out Splice, taking a 1 game away from E United is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
But I'm a little worried for them in this particular matchup against Space Station, considering that historically throughout all of Season 5, spring and summer, Space Station Gaming won all 4 sets without dropping a single game.
Well, let's see if that continues here today, because at the moment, it's okay. Kiki on the solo lane Baron. He's been quite happy to run the Morrigan now and again too in the solo lane. Allowed a little bit more flexibility for this LG roster, which is what Kiki was known for when he used to play the solo lane.
It's very unpredictable when you have a solo laner such as Kiki as to what god or goddess he's going to run, trying to really throw a curveball at his opposition. But Aquarius, a little bit more readable and standard, playing his Achilles, which is very aggressive against a Baron that has a very low health pool. You add a global pressure Ratatoskr for andinster, and I think Kiki could be on the receiving end of a chopping block.
First couple of waves gone as expected so far this game, but here comes andinster now for a left-hand side gank. Gino avoids the walls, so this is going to be a bit tricky as he uses the throwback, gets away from the root, and Andy's still going to go in though, looking to get aggressive on Gino. He's got no escape, so he will fall down for free on this side of the map. He had blink, he could have just blinked away, but I guess he was either in combat a little bit too quick.
He definitely was in combat, I believe, and the fact of the matter was he wanted to still stay relatively close to make sure Clout would have got out. I like the preemptive bees from andinster, recognizing there was going to be the immediate yawn from Gino, taking out his life. First blood gold bounty goes to andinster. He finishes off that acorn.
And I'm looking at LG's comp, and once they hit level 5 in the mid and jungle position for Weaken and ShadowChair, I think those 2 ultimates will start combining for some gank pressure somewhere. Obviously, Space Station Games dual lane is a nice little option for them, but so solo lane here, it's not a terrible situation.
With Aquarius playing relatively close to the tower line out of Kiki, it's a very big possibility, but Aquarius back in for the Warrior Taba. He's going to have that 45 physical power now, and that could be another option where andinster joins out Aquarius for some kills in the solo lane for themselves.
Both the junglers on this left-hand side of the map. I believe Weekend just got spotted by JeffHindla there, and BaRRaCCuDDa's like, did you see him? I don't think I saw him. Maybe he is there. Oh, maybe not. Okay, we'll just go back to farming again. Weekend felt like he sniffed it out, though, so he's just going to walk away. andinster has his ultimate ready, and it looks like he wants to go in duo lane potentially again here.
And I think that's a smart play, honestly, the way andinster was positioning himself between the mid lane and the duo lane. Even BaRRaCCuDDa's posture in that laning phase was like a little bit preemptive, doesn't want to get hit by the root out of the Kumbhakarna, so he plays it far back, understanding that if Serqet or Weekend is not visible on the minimap, assume he's right around the corner.
Well, once upon a time, when we used to see Morrigan in every single game, or thereof, it was whenever a Serqet was around, and there's a Serqet in this game too. So keep an eye on what Venenu chooses to transform into. A couple of options available for him, sure, but definitely that one's on the list. Maybe even the Baron.
Serqet, Ratatoskr, Hunbats, those were the three popular gods to run a Morrigan in conjunction with, trying to get those important ultimates available. Aquarius is still hugging this tower line, and Weekend's around the corner.
So Aquarius now going to be a little bit overextended, walking towards Weekend, and Andy recognizes that and goes to the sky. Weekend gets ulted, and Aquarius in trouble, but a great knock-up slows down the aggression. Still alive is Aquarius as Weekend tries to jump away from a World Weaver that came out from Venenu in the mid lane, who transformed. And this is all set up Kiki now, who's overextended and ends up tumbling down for a second kill for Spacestation.
I didn't even consider that Venenu could be potentially into the Neith. I was like, wait a second, that World Weaver is on the same team as Luminosity. That was a great play out of Spacestation. It's the counter engage, the sheer patience from Spacestation Gaming, the veteran experience of this team that consistently makes a land, always one step above the teams that aren't.
Question for you. Now, this is in the game, and everyone's been discussing it, obviously, but I don't think it's really worthwhile. Do you reckon you send your whole team back to base when Venenu's got ult, turn into Baron, and everyone gets the free potions?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a thing?
That is actually a thing.
Yes, do it. Absolutely do it.
But the thing is, you have to be level 5, right? It costs you your ultimate to turn into Baron.
Do it.
And while you're the Baron, your team can buy the brew.
Yes.
The Baron's brew. The problem is that your team has to be in base at the same moment, but that means all of you are not on the map.
Even if you give up a Gold Fury at like the 5-minute mark.
Is that what you think? Really?
Even if you give up the Gold Fury at the 5-minute mark, it's still worth, I would say, at the end of the day. For 150 gold, you get infinite multi-potions.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have to both get regular wards and sentry wards, if all 5 members are going to do so, absolutely.
Definitely better in other game modes, I'd say, to try and abuse that little feature, I'd say. Like maybe Assault, just turn into Baron in the base real quick and get it. But in Conquest, there's a lot of map pressure you're losing, Tolly, by sending everybody back at the same time.
You would definitely have to time it properly so you don't lose too many buffs. But even if you give up a Gold Fury that early, it's not that big of a deal. You're able to still farm it out. And I think that you could persevere through those next team fights because you have all those Baron's Brew to match your opposition.
Just one of those funny little things that came out around the Morrigan as her interactions with every new god is still going to make an impact too. But Luminosity now, 4 men grouped around this Gold Fury, and a great ult from Geno sets up Venenu into trouble, who's trying to dance away from danger. BaRRaCCuDDa helped with that. Dance is weak and couldn't dive in any further, but look at andinster.
Clout is solo as well. andinster finds one, looking for 2. Which way does it go? Left or right? Left or right?
He's going to go left, and he's going to meet Weekend too, and that might not be the best option. Goes back towards the right. Geno going to dash away. Andy giving chase still. And at the end of the day, he was just waiting on cooldowns, which just weren't available. So in the end, they all get away.
andinster was like a little kid in a candy shop that didn't know what he wanted. He wants it all, and then he only got the one at the end of the day. Kiki, though,
those minions came into play, and that's the end of the day there. That World Weaver will secure the kill.
I don't think it's going to kill him, but Kiki was out of range. He couldn't drop it. I knew the World Weaver wouldn't find the lethal range, but Kiki not in position for the last final blow. Spacestation Gaming, after winning that team fight, gets a Gold Fury.
I can't believe he survived through that. I just think he was just off the mark with the gaze there, was Kiki, just at the end.
Slightly.
Just ever so slightly, which allowed him... Because I knew the World Weaver was going to kill, I agree.
Couldn't connect the tip. Just could not connect the tip whatsoever, unfortunately. It's just such a bad feeling.
Gold Fury then does go to Space Station after that fight, even though Anderson didn't find all the kills he would have liked there. But he's having a very good game on this Ratatoskr so far. Made a big impact in this duo lane.
This is definitely the style of andinster. He doesn't actually like to gank the solo lane consistently, despite being a good opportunity. Like Aquarius has this advantage of being able to be a bully. So you add a global pressure such as Ratatoskr, or maybe even the World Weaver from Venenu transforming to ShadowChair, and Spacestation could exploit that. But andinster likes to gank the duo lane and then waits patiently, knowing Weaken is not impatient necessarily, but feels he needs to make plays for his team to win, and using that against Luminosity.
In fairness, though, when you're playing Serqet, that's your mindset anyway, right?
Yes.
Because you want to get the early game going. Aquarius is going to try and back, but gets a nice little kiss from Weaken. Good damage, good ultimate. One dash down, and here comes the pull all the way into the coffin. The World Weaver would have secured it, but Weaken will get himself on the board.
If Aquarius had his lethal strike ultimate, that would have been a guaranteed kill, but he had to use it defensively to escape prior.
Clout just backsteps towards BaRRaCCuDDa there to avoid the walls, but eats most of the Desert Fury. It was just nicely played from Clout, but even better from Spacestation.
Yet again, andinster with a cleanup potentially, waiting the last possible second to apply the dash, and the body blocks a really good speed buff on top of the Acorn mobility, allows him to catch up to Kiki.
And that's the thing about andinster, though. I really feel like he's a counter-initiating jungle more often than not. The only one I've ever really seen, he's the one that goes pedal to the metal on his Thor, but it's been a while since we've seen him on the Thor.
I mean, that was his early days before he was, this mature jungler nowadays, and he felt the need to, play that aggressive back in his cognitive prime days, relying a lot on those Thor plays, and otherwise, even Ao Kuang was a big play for him, and now he has a big supporting cast around him that can definitely make the plays whenever necessary. Aquarius in that side lane onto Kiki. Jeff and BaRRa is always confident about making the plays for themselves. So andinster can just kind of use the sheer Ratatoskr 2% extra mobility compared to every other god and look for those counter engages.
Funny enough, andinster is one of the only players that I'd say that I've seen transfer roles and then go back to his original role and still maintain it. Most of them, like Baskin, for example, they end up staying in their new role and never looking at going back. And he's the only one that went mid for a whole season and then went, you know what? I'm going to head back towards the jungle now.
Was it a whole season? I thought it was only like half a season.
Same difference.
Close enough.
Close enough, right?
Yeah,
but
I agree with you.
Andy's the only one that's only really made that transference from one to the other and then back again. Whereas it's definitely good a learning experience for Andy too. Being
Lassus went back mid. Where he started mid.
Players.
Sure.
I didn't mean ancient guys from the days of totally played pro.
I'm just saying, back in my days, Pepperidge Farm remembers all the players, not just the ones currently in Season 5.
Yeah, that's true. 5 seasons of this. Oof. And one more still to come, guaranteed. Season 6. It's right around the corner. First of all, though, we get hi-rez Expo. ShadowChair eats a nice bit of poke from Venenu in the mid lane. Luminosity duos lane there. Getting quite aggressive, but that's allowing andinster to wrap around the back and actually look for this red buff. ShadowChair's at half health. And close enough, but I think he just spotted the rat there.
Look where Weaken is, right around the corner, underneath of everyone. andinster looking for the back Harpy camps because he has the global pressure if he needs to get out. Clout only sitting at level 9 between a rock and a hard place if JeffHindla decides to throw out that monolith.
This is an awkward situation around this red buff now as the Groggy Strike disconnects and ShadowChair backflips away and has to beads. In goes andinster, but he gets hit by the Weaken ult straight away, but Weaken annihilated JeffHindla with the kill, and Andy might not be done. I say that as he changes his mind.
There's no point. Like, even if you get the kill, you're guaranteed dead. What's the point of sacrificing a level 12, even 13 Ratatoskr for a level 9 Ho-Yi? The rest of Spacestation Gaming can use the presence of andinster to dive the tier 1 solo.
Yeah, you talk about presence. Here he is again. Now Kiki under pressure, and he falls down. Aquarius credit with a kill. This tower will surely fall soon after. And I think that's the difference totally around that red buff. If the Gold Fury was up on the side, andinster goes back in to secure more kills so they can get the Gold Fury. But
maybe
with the Gold Fury being down, why not just fall back and look elsewhere?
I think, like, regardless of Gold Fury is up, andinster has definitely changed his tune to the point where he values his life more than killing anyone inside the game, and I think that's what allows Spacestation Gaming to just get a leg up. Whereas Luminosity feel the need to make these plays, and every time they go for it, they're getting read like a book. Yeah. Spacestation just seem to have Luminosity's number.
This isn't the andinster show so far. Not like the duo lane hasn't done good work as well, but definitely he's the one that we've been following along with because that's where most of the kills have gone to. Been involved in 6 of the 7 in this game. And the second Gold Fury is now available for both teams to look at.
All Spacestation Gaming got the first one 5 minutes ago and have a very comfortable 5,700 gold leader. So
that's huge.
Experience already in the 5 digits.
At 13 minutes, that's where you're starting to really struggle. With the 2 tier 1 towers being down too, LG definitely on the back foot now, because positioning just for entering into the laning phase is awkward.
It's about to be 10 relics, only up against 7. I think Luminosity needs to find a way to start slowing down some of these aggressive plays, controlling the vision when necessary, and look for somebody that might be overextended. Aquarius, slightly above that imaginary horizontal line, but a level 14 Achilles, Runic Shield, Gladiator Shield. He's not your ideal to target, especially when Gold Fury's up.
Blinking from andinster, looking for the stun on ShadowChair because his beads were down. But a quick backflip and a juke away. He'll live to fight another day. Venenu transforms and then goes to the sky. But I don't know about this fight, boys. It might just be a failed
They're just
situation.
saying hi. They're just kind of saying hi to each other. Venenu and andinster, bestest of friends. Up in the branches.
Friends possible. But now those ults are on cooldown. LG have a window to get aggressive themselves now. Blink available for the Kumbhakarna to maybe look to engage. Weekend going to try and flank on the side with Geno too. Aquarius though doing a good job frontline, and then JeffHindla making sure Geno can't slip round the back.
As long as the Monolith is there for the sustained, BaRRaCCuDDa can tank that Gold Fury himself. The target is Venenu, but there's no follow-up.
There's the follow-up. Weekend will do good work to allow ShadowChair to get the kill, but ShadowChair under pressure from andinster. Jeff gets another kill. It's not often Jeff gets double kills, but now BaRRaCCuDDa gets one for himself too. Jumps in towards Geno, who slows him down to get Weekend out, but Clout is a different story.
Gonna find another kill. The third victim during this encounter. LG lose 3. Spacestation only sacrifice Venenu, and this Gold Fury should be available.
This is a good look for Spacestation game, especially after the back of last week's performances where fans will be like, well, we're all happy about these trades, we're excited to see how they work out. Now we got to see a bit more function out of Spacestation against an LG team that were on the up. Spacestation looking dominant.
It's never a great feeling when you have to use your ultimate defensively at your own speed buff. No one else besides Weekend, unfortunately, they're kind of licking their wounds in the fountain, and with Spacestation securing that second Gold Fury of the game, keep on the pressure. Over 8,000 gold lead.
So basically, what andinster did at the dual lane at the start, where he got that first blood, it kind of just continued from there, really. Where andinster went is where they found results.
That was the initial spark. Where the fire really started to pick up a little bit of height was the counter gank in the solo lane.
Yeah, good
because we saw the counter gank attempt in the dual lane where Weekend was there, so was andinster, neither one of them wanting to go in first, and then eventually, about a minute or two later, the action shifted over to the right side of the map, where Aquarius just has the matchup advantage anyway up against a Baron, so whichever jungler shows up should have the advantage there, but andinster just one step ahead of Weekend.
He's level 17 at 16 and a half minutes in this game. His opposition in the jungle is 6 levels down, and that's no discredit to Weekend. It's just how good Andy's having of a game here. This is a terrible situation to be in as LG, because you're looking now and you're like, well, I guess we just try and farm and catch up, but I don't think Spacestation will let that happen.
Spacestation is probably the scariest team, including over E United, that you don't want to give a lead to, because they will never drop it.
Nice little play from Geno, but that route won't be connected there. However, beads and egg is consumed from BaRRaCCuDDa, so it's not all doom and gloom in this situation. Surrender vote has begun already, though, as Andy now rotating around to the left-hand side, looking for Geno, but he avoids it with the groggy strike to make sure he's not knock up a bull.
JeffHindla wrapping around the corner, potentially could see a little bit of action as Venenu still has his ultimate available. There goes the root, forcing Kiki to use life of the party.
JeffHindla going to get pulled in by Kiki, and then Kiki evaporates, 4 men collapse.
That was a good root. 4-man roots. That was a highlight play. Unfortunately, no follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, no one was really in the area to do anything like that. I actually think Pyromancer could be on the cards now for Spacestation. Even look towards a Fire Giant and draw them in. Leaving andinster just to continue to farm up as the rest of the team start to look at this tier 2 tower.
andinster doesn't have ultimate, needs to walk on over. From the backside is Geno trying to get in to save the tier 2 tower, but Terra wall from JeffHindla going to prevent it.
Andy taking on Clout, and Clout at level 12. He's not going to have a fun time against a level 18 assassin.
Speed buff, Witchblade, Acorn, too much movement speed to really combat against that. Without dive bomb, without stuns to peel for yourself, there was no amount of defensive relics that could save Clout.
So Spacestation Gaming slide to the left after getting the tier 2 tower in the mid lane. The Spacestation fans can clap their hands now, knowing that the tier 2 is now next on the cards. Aquarius keeping Weekend busy on the right-hand side.
Over 10,000 of a goalie. That's about to be 11,500 after this tier 2 tower. ShadowChair with a backflip andinster and Venenu creating chaos in the backline.
Fun to see Venenu stretch his legs a little bit in this one and be able to do the transformations and get aggressive now. Kiki over here to defend, but rooted in place. Needs the shell that he used on himself, but BaRRaCCuDDa onto a killing spree with 3 kills now. 13-2.
So the last set, I thought specifically that maybe Anhur is just a panic cat thing, but BaRRaCCuDDa seems to prefer it as well. And these pillars have been on point, blocking the pathing out of Kiki on the Baron. Is so important about shutting down the Baron because, yeah, sure, he has the movement speed, can immune some slows, but can't go through walls, so that's one way to lock him down.
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited to see Anhur back for a minute or two anyway. We'll see how long he stays in the Pro League. He's a good god, though. Like, he's got a bit of everything, you know? He's a master of nothing, but got plenty of tricks in his bag to get out of situations. And the one reason we've seen him more is because of the Desert Fury more than anything else, his ultimate. Yeah. Because at the same time, he's had a cooldown reduction in it and a power increase over time. And those reasons have been one of the reasons we've seen the pros look to pick him up some more.
Especially when you can apply the Enfeeble passive before the Desert Fury. You know, you jump, basic attack, impale, basic attack, Desert Fury between all your auto attack cancels. You have so much solo potential. So if Clout ever uses his dive bomb, BaRRaCCuDDa will capitalize on it. Not
just that, though. It's a 75-second beads, technically, with that ultimate. So that's definitely a good reason to play him in the Hunter position. Forehead Giant is getting very low, and Geno tries to come in, and Geno can only knock hand into the sky as Aquarius going to help run him out of town, too. And now it's all about this Tier 2 tower. The last tower remaining on LG's side of the map.
20-minute fire. Giant Space Station Gaming just have one more tower to go through before the only thing left is Phoenix's and then the Titan.
And now this Tier 2 will be under threat then. Left-hand side, 2 members looking to split push to victory at the moment. Both Weekend and Clout trying to get a bit more farm for themselves. And Andy's having none of that. He'll go into a 2v1 to slow them down. And oh my, he might even get himself killed if he keeps going like this.
He should. He's going to beads and prevent the slows coming out of Clout. He is very tanky. If Weekend was there with his ultimate, they might actually kill andinster. Funny enough.
Meanwhile, the back line, Geno's going to go down, trying to defend this Phoenix. The rest of Space Station Gaming take that for themselves. Weekend now gets back from base. But there's only 2 Phoenixes remaining left to take. And the grouping of Space Station, the baits are real.
Do they know? Kiki doesn't know. A miss from BaRRaCCuDDa, but Aquarius is there for the setup.
And Kiki comes in, Kiki goes out. Now the ultimate onto BaRRaCCuDDa. Aegis will immune some of that poison. Good shell from Jeff to follow it up. And then Weekend falls down to Venenu for a double kill. This game 1 could be coming to a close relatively soon.
Venenu is such a great, diverse player with his god pool. Thinking about how he just came up from Oxygen Supremacy, playing, what was it, I think 5 different gods in 9 different games, showing his stuff with a Morrigan. He transformed into Aquarius 2 separate times, andinster a couple times, even transforming to ShadowChair. I think alone was what allowed Space Station Gaming a huge advantage in that solo lane.
Clout goes down, ShadowChair backflips, but only backflips as far as his fountain room, where he's going to return to for the 3rd time this game. And Space Station Gaming not too excited about going for the Titan just yet. Instead, they'll get the left-hand Phoenix, and Andy goes up.
Like I said, when Space Station Gaming have a lead, they are so clean with it. They're not going to overextend to dive the fountain. They're just going to make sure that they end the game cleanly and move on to the next one.
And that is 20 kills. Could be 21, but the Titan's going to fall down now. Space Station Gaming take game 1 in dominant fashion, all through the back of... do we even need an MVP vote? andinster.
andinster definitely made it happen. Setting him up in the solo lane was also Venenu's ShadowChair transformation. Very impressive stuff from the mid laner. I think that he's such a good diverse player in terms of making that highlight plays, and the sheer patience from andinster, following Weekend on the left side in case the gank happened, all the way towards following Weekend on the right where it actually did occur.
So from LG's point of view, what do they need to do differently for game 2?
I think that they need to be worried more about this Morrigan play.
Really?
Maybe start pressure, pick a support that's going to be able to assist in some of these ganks.
You guys at home now get to choose your MVP. There's one name on that list. If it's not selected, I'm going to make sure account linking doesn't work anymore.
That's too savage.
Is it?
Hit it. You need to stop.
Okay.
Too savage.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else to do to him. That's just the lowest level of meanness I can think of. Let's get over to the desk to break down that game 1.
Do we need any more confirmation that Hindu Man sinks right to the lowest level right away? Not me. Not out here today. Finch coming in with the full-on roasts. Me and Taco going to bring you the recap on game 1. And if andinster didn't stand out for you in that game, then I don't really know what does. That Ratatoskr started early, and it never really stopped.
It was all those picks early on. That's what really got the snowball rolling there for Andy. Ratatoskr, when he gets a lead, he already has that semi-global presence thanks to the Through the Cosmos, and andinster just used it to its fullest potential here today against Luminosity. He was all over Clout, all over Kiki. Neither of these side lanes, had a chance to really get online. They were both constantly smothered by pressure from andinster. You also had to worry about JeffHindla's rotations, I think.
Right.
That I kind of caught Luminosity off guard, and it was just the way that Spacestation continuously fragmented the map that prevented Luminosity from coming back into this one.
And what do you know? andinster selected there as the MVP. Not too big of a surprise, as it was very well earned, a big flashy performance from andinster on this Ratatoskr. But when andinster plays in the jungle like this, I think is when Spacestation Gaming look at their best, right? Aquarius has really, truly in Season 5 stepped up and become his own independent win condition. There's no more questions for me about how Aquarius is going to look in their games. Not at all. We know how strong Venenu is, and he seems to have adjusted here to this team. For me, when andinster plays online and those other two can connect with him, that's when Spacestation looked like they could compete with the best of the best.
andinster's definitely struggled a little bit in terms of consistency, but he had it all throughout this match. If he can carry on this momentum over into Game 2, then it's going to be very problematic for Luminosity. And this play as well was just such an alpha presence out of andinster, not even caring about avoiding the damage from the Sunbreaker. He's just happy to absorb all of it because he knew he was going to find Clout through it no matter what.